Hello, everyone. Come on in. I am Dr. Natalie Phillips. I am host of Just Connect. That's right. I have a basketball background. We're going to be talking a little bit about basketball today. I am from a basketball family. That is how I met my husband. We were basketball referees in college, and I am super excited about our topic today. But before that, I wanted to go through some housekeeping issues. Welcome in. Come and say hi. I cannot wait to learn more about what you guys are learning from The Last Dance. If those of you who have watched it, that would be great. And my pick is here, Elizabeth Lyons. Good to see you. I'm so excited. Do you like my background? So I'm excited because we are going to be talking about basketball today. So before we get there, I am going to go over just a few things here. Number one, just a reminder that I do have a YouTube channel. So don't forget to subscribe to Dr. Natalie Phillips. Hit the subscribe button and then hit the notification bell so that you know when I go live. And then I will be back right after this. So don't go away.
I'm Dr. Natalie Phillips, host of Just Connect. I am an audiologist, a business owner, an entrepreneur, and a connector. This life is about connecting for the right reasons and to the right people. I believe making authentic and true connections lead to growth, change, and impacting the world.
All right. Hello. Okay. So come on in. Yes, I'm super excited. This is a basketball background. Look at all my fans here. I'm so excited to be in front of them. I'm coming to you live from the basketball courts here because today our topic is going to be what I've been just learning from watching The Last Dance. So those of you who have been watching The Last Dance, put it in the comments. I want to see, throw me some likes, throw me some hearts. It's one of those things where we are a basketball family. And, I met, for those of you who don't know, I met my husband because we were both basketball referees in college. My son loves to play basketball. I am missing watching basketball right now because nobody can play anything. And so I used to laugh because, my son and my husband are watching ESPN, all the old games, Larry Bird, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh man, I can't sit there and watch this. And then I found myself watching the horse competition, where there were famous people playing by Zoom or whatever, and they were challenging each other to horse. So then I thought, okay, I must be really hard up for some basketball because I'm sitting here watching the horse challenge. And then I don't know if this is on ESPN. How many of you guys saw this? But they have like a sign spinning contest. My husband was watching that last night, and I was thinking, you've got to be kidding me. This is live. He goes, no, I taped it. And then he was taping it, watching these sign spinning contests. I'm talking like the first thing I thought about was like sign language because that's my background. But no, it was like those people that are on the corner that spin the signs. It was that they were having a contest. So how many of you are watching The Last Dance? I want to say hello to Anthony. Good to see you. And then also I want to say hello to Elizabeth again. So she is here and good to see you, Elizabeth. So those of you who are watching The Last Dance, basically, for those of you who don't know, I just don't want to leave anybody out, but it's basically a 10-part docu-series that ESPN is releasing, and they release 2 episodes every Sunday. And hello, Bill, good to see you. And it's super fun because it follows Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls basically through their last, era of winning and everything like that. And so it's been really, really exciting to watch it. My husband and my son watch it twice before the next set of 2 come out, and there's only 10, and I wish they kind of drew it out, but at the same time I kind of don't because I'm learning so much, but I've been enjoying it. And so I thought we'd talk about The Last Dance because I think it's kind of relevant and fun. And so I wanted to make sure if you guys are watching and you're learning something, put it up in the comments. I don't want to be the only one talking here, but I do want to learn what you guys are learning and just reflecting on and how it reflects to business too, because I thought, I interviewed Lance Allred, and he'll be with me next week. So if those of you who are tuning in, come back next week because Lance Allred will be with me. And he's actually the first deaf basketball player in NBA history. And so he had said to me that never underestimate the power of a sports like reference. And it is so true. You can learn so much. And so while I was thinking about what he said, it made me kind of think about what have I learned in maybe just the first 4 episodes of The Last Dance. Okay, so number 1 is I learned to be the hardest worker in the room. And again, some of this stuff, I feel like I tell my kids all the time, but when I think about my practice, my business, one of the things that Michael Jordan was talking about was, being the hardest worker in the room will actually elevate everybody else around you, and I thought about, how I would talk to my kids about this as well, or whether they're on the court, whether, I'm talking to my colleagues, my staff about this, don't worry about what other people are doing. A lot of the times you can walk by and say, oh, they're on their phones, well, you don't know how long they were on their phones or anything like that in your office, but it's like, don't even worry about what they're doing. Are they getting what they need to get done? Right. If you're more worried about looking over to the next lane. And I put this meme up all the time, and I love it, where Michael Phelps was swimming and the person that was competing against him actually had his head turned, and he actually looked into Michael Phelps's lane, and he lost that actual race. And, that's what's going to happen if you don't stay focused. And what Michael Jordan was talking about was actually being the hardest worker and elevating everybody else around you, and try not to worry about what everybody else is doing, whether they're performing or not. If anyone knows what they're doing, it's not your job to do that. And this will also reflect on you, but also people who notice will also rise to the occasion. So I thought that was a great lesson. So they're going to be 10 lessons that I pull out here. And this is number 1. Number 1 is be the hardest worker in the room. Number 2 is to be respectful. Now, a lot of my points also come back to this point of being respectful. And it seems really easy. Like, if you're working, why wouldn't you be respectful of not only your superiors, but also maybe your colleagues? Maybe, how many of you can actually say you're also respectful of, staff and people who might be taking orders from you? So that's also something where you just want to be respectful all the way around. In the show, The Last Dance, what they were talking about, this part was when, he was talking about when the Pistons beat them twice, right? In the championships, and they came back the third year, and at the second year, I should say, they actually, when they lost, it hurt. And he even said that he cried on the bus on the way back out. But, on the third year, what they did was they actually did not take a break. They did not take vacation. They were in the weight room and they were working out hard. And even though it was hard, losing to the Pistons the second time, they still shook their hands. But on that third time when they came back, this is what really hit Michael Jordan, was that, he said that they won. And even before the game was over, the Pistons walked off the court. Now, I am not a Pistons fan, and I'm not even going to go there. But, it was a really good point that the one thing that you really want to think about is to be respectful at all times, which means even in defeat, show good sportsmanship. Even though it hurts, shake hands, right? When did someone undermine you? Have you ever had somebody maybe try to undermine you? Like, I've been there. And yes, it hurts. It still hurts. But the point is, the more that you are just respectful, and the more that you don't throw anybody else under the bus, and the more that you are going to uphold that respectful attitude and continue to rise, it's not going to matter what people say about you, because it's going to show that you're going to still stay respectful. So I've got some great comments here. Bill Schomburg, it is great to see you, my friend. Dr. Amit Ghazalia, I am the smartest worker in the room. You know what? You are. Anthony says that the Piston teams were truly badass. Yeah, you know what? They were. But the attitudes were the ones that I just didn't respect at all. Yes, dirty Pistons, no respect to them at all. Amit says, yes, they were strong. They were strong. I'm not lying. But the point is, be respectful right there. I can't even point to the right place because it's so opposite here, but be respectful. That's the second thing that I want to talk about. Thank you guys so much for commenting. Number 3, my takeaway is understand that there are no shortcuts. So there are no shortcuts. I tell my kids, don't ever, ever, ever get any grace or anything like that. You do everything and you do all the work. Okay. Do the work, and then do some more. There's a certain level of desire and work ethic that you have to have in order to actually be successful. And so there are no shortcuts, even for the greatest player of all time. I've got to keep up with these comments too. Still talking about the Pistons, sharp elbows, respect, and oh my gosh. Oh, Bill Lambier. Yes. Oh yes. Yeah. We're going to go so off on the Pistons here. Okay, Bill says, you're a wise individual, Natalie. I so appreciate you and your perspectives. Thank you, Bill. All right, so going back to number 3, understand that there are no shortcuts. Number 4, we're going to keep rolling along, but I love these comments. Number 4 is work towards a goal and keep focus. So you don't always have to like the people you play with or work for, but you must get along with them and share a common goal. So what this was is, as you're watching The Last Dance, it's so interesting. I love watching all these back end stories because, watching Jerry Krause and watching, everything that's going on, you don't always have to like the people, but you still have to. Still, number 2 is be respectful. And as long as you're working towards a common goal and stay focused, you can still be successful. Elizabeth says, great tips. And she also says, the longest road is sometimes the shortest way home. I have forgotten who said that, but it's very true. Wow, that's a really good one, Elizabeth. Thanks for putting that up there. All right. So again, work towards a goal, keep focused, stay respectful no matter what. Number 5 is work harder. So I thought this was interesting, but Michael Jordan did not make the varsity team as a sophomore, and he played on the JV team. But when he went home and talked to his mom, I love his mom. How many of you guys actually love his mom? There's another thing that I just posted today about his mom and telling him to, go to Nike, even though he was so interested in Adidas. But I absolutely love his mom because he came home after he didn't make the team. And you know what she said? It's exactly, I love his mom because that's exactly what I would say to my kids is if you didn't make it, okay, work harder. Like, I have no pity for you. Just get out there, work harder, get stronger, come back the next year. Okay. Deal with where you are placed at this time and be happy, be respectful, work hard, but then work harder so that you can make it the next year. So number 5, I love is to work harder no matter what. All right. Number 6 is habits create a foundation for progress. So, this was really interesting because, I watch my son and he's, a basketball player, and he did reports that, he did this report where he had to kind of argue for or against having fast food at school lunches, and he argued against it. And so he did all the research. And ever since then, I think it was like in 7th grade, it was his report that he had to do. It was one of those argumentative reports or whatever they call them. He will not set foot into a fast food place. And it's funny. I mean, he'll go to Subway, things like that, but and Chick-fil-A, that's like the one only place, but he will not eat any of the fast food places, which is great because it makes us not eat there either. But I love it because he is very disciplined about that. And so, these habits that create a foundation for progress. I watched this episode and I watched how Michael Jordan said that, everybody would go out and party, but he wouldn't. He wouldn't go late into the night, and he spent his time relaxing in his apartment or hotel room or whatever it was. And he ate healthy, and, he was recharged and he recalibrated his mind. He wanted to get the rest so that he could get up and go play. And that's what his positive habits did to build his strong body and his mind. Bill says, The Last Dance is a historical look at one of the best lessons in leadership available today. Another would be studying Bill Belichick. Interesting. Okay. I don't know if I agree with that, but I'm not a football guy. I am more of a basketball person. So I'm not even going to comment on that, but that's interesting. All right. So habits create a foundation for progress. So that's another tip that I took away. Oh, I love this next one. Number 7 is listen with your eyes. So I love this because the point that was made in these episodes too was that, be focused on the speaker. So, and not anything else around you. So, I notice this when my son plays, when they're in the huddle, I don't want him looking in the stands at us at all. In fact, if he does, he'll get a talking to when he gets home because he's not paying attention to the coach. And if the coach is talking, your attention should be there. Like, don't even look at us at all. And he knows that, and he will not dare look at us. But I do see some other players kind of looking around, making faces, singing to the songs, things like that. And I just think that it's so much more respectful if you are able to listen with your eyes. Now, whether you're a basketball player or not, think of like these new Zoom calls that we're all doing, right? And showing up on these different meetings. And what I thought about was, I know we're at home and we can't always get rid of some of the distractions that we have, but here's the thing, show up and turn your camera on. That's number one. Like, you should be present for these meetings, whether you're at home or not, but turn your camera on. Number two, don't be looking down the whole time. If you're having a meeting and you're doing this the whole time, it doesn't look like you're focused and you're paying attention. And so, yes, I mean, there's some times where I'm doing interviews and I have to look down because I'm writing something down, but I make sure I look up right away. And then maybe even don't put a picture up there and like be behind it. So turn your camera on, be present, listen with your eyes. It gives someone a lot more respect that way. I've got some, oh yeah. So Elizabeth likes that too. Listen with your eyes. I do too. I don't know what it is about it, but I just feel like this eye contact thing makes people have more respect, and you're showing respect to that person that's talking. So listen with your eyes. Number 8, I've got 10 of these, is understand the needs of each key person. Okay, so this one I wrote down because, I saw the Dennis Rodman episode, and you can't argue with how great he was. And it was so interesting because he asked for a little break. Like, he just needed a break. And MJ knew, yeah, if you guys give him this break, he isn't going to come back for 48 hours like you tell him to. And sure enough, he didn't. And he took a long time to come back, but he did. Apparently they went and got him, but he came back. And once he came back, he was focused. And every single time he came on that court, he was focused. So yes, was it fair because he got a break versus everybody else? Probably not. But knowing that, Phil Jackson, knowing that as the coach, was just one of those things where he needed that. And knowing what your needs are of the key players and giving them that type of break, just will make a better cohesive team if you're able to do that. Now, I know that's not always possible, but I think the compassion that is shown as a leader that way, and being able to bring that person back into the fold and say, all right, did you get what you needed? Because we got to get to work. It's going to be a lot easier than saying, no, you can't ever do that, or being really, really lenient. There were some definite ways that they had in place to get him back. But again, just understanding those needs is super huge when you're talking about a team. Bill Schomburg says, Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson were the best leadership examples I had encountered before I discovered Simon Sinek. Yeah, I don't think I missed a Bulls game in 5. Wow, or 6 seasons. That's very, very cool. He also says, Phil always knew what was best, didn't care about fair. Yeah. See, and that's what's interesting is that, in this day and age, we're so worried about, well, that's not fair, or they can't do that, or I can't do that, or they're doing this. I'm hoping that maybe the boss will see this. You've got to be like more of a coach when you're a leader, to be able to work with your staff, with your business, to be a cohesive team, to build that culture, right? Some of these things that I'm learning, and it's funny, just from The Last Dance, are super intuitive and really, really things that we can see in everyday business and how we can run our businesses. Number 9, so I've got 2 more. Number 9 is treat people fairly. So be appreciative, of your staff. I know that the issue was in The Last Dance about Scottie Pippen's salary, and how upset he was after a while about it. So I'm just here to remind you to treat people fairly, whether it's pay, whether it is have good open communication with your staff. There's some, or your, I should quit saying staff, but just your business colleagues as well. Treat them fairly. If, reward them, talk to them openly, have conversations. If your businesses are closed down, don't forget to have these open conversations with them. Have a Zoom call, have meetings, things like that. It's really, really important to do that. Yes, Elizabeth says appreciation is so important, and discovering how people best feel that appreciation. Yeah, it is. And I'll tell you, it goes a long way if you show them that, and not just on Administrative Professionals Day, right? So treat people fairly. And the last thing that I got out of The Last Dance, so thank you guys so much for hanging in there, is spend your downtime focused to return stronger. So what I love about this last point was, again, going back to the Dennis Rodman episode. And again, I'm just talking about episodes 1 through 4, because I think I'm going to save some of the ones and come back and do another Last Dance. If you guys like this, another Last Dance takeaway. and I can have a different background if you want, whatever you want to do. But I liked this one because it goes back to the Dennis Rodman episode where he talked about rebounding. And it's so interesting because I was thinking everybody always focuses on the person who's making the points, right? Or the person who's doing the moves, or the person who's dunking, or whatever it is. But you don't focus a lot on who's rebounding all the time, unless you're a person that's watching the statistics a little bit better. But I loved how Dennis Rodman talked about what he did to get better at rebounding, because you don't think about that. And I was a player too, and I did not think like that. But what he did was, on his downtime, he studied the way that the ball would come up to the basket and hit the rim, and then shank off of there, or whatever it's going to do, right? He studied how each person that threw up the ball, the actual player, how their shot was, if there was a spin on the ball, where they were on the court, things like that. So he studied that so intensely that he became one of the best rebounders, in history. And so as we're talking about, rebounding, now that we're going to safer at home measures and businesses are opening again, I thought about rebounding, and I thought about Dennis Rodman and how hard he worked in his downtime to return stronger, or to be the best when he returned. And for, thinking about going back into, our offices, our places of business, rebounding from this hard surface that we've had to sit on, for the last 6-7 weeks, or maybe even a little bit longer. In this downtime, I want to challenge you all to spend time focusing on how can you return stronger. So that is my 10 takeaways from The Last Dance. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed that. It sounds actually like you guys want me to do another. So I will keep watching. I know that I've only covered the first 4, so there's 6 more episodes. So I will kind of gather some thoughts next week. If you are going to join me, please put it on the calendar for next week, because I have a special guest. I'm super excited. Who I'm having is Lance Allred. He is actually the first deaf player in NBA history. And so he's going to join me and talk a little bit more about what he does and his new book, The Alpha Male. So come back next week, 5:00 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Just Connect, and I will see you then. All right. Thanks for joining in. See you later. Bye.